Shoutout, Sniper T on the beat.
Tamara to the break of dawn is on the rise, with life on the forefront of the mind. So line for line, you can ride this brain train and you can change your station without even touching the dial. So relax, stay a little bit, but listen for a while. And whether you're bumping this in the whip or in a business fit, it's a meeting you won't want to miss. A meeting for a meal to feed the soul with words for the mind. So sit back, enjoy the ride. Time to take off, it's time to fly. Cause Tamara till the break of dawn is on the rise.
Hey, it's me, Tamra, Tamra, Tamra. Yes. Welcome back to the show. To all my regular listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and putting up with all my silly ways that I choose to introduce my show. For my new listeners, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you come back. New episodes drop every Thursday. If you're not yet, you should totally follow me on social media, and the link to my Instagram, Twitter, the TikTok is in the episode notes, as well as the link to my website. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what else. Oh, if you missed the last podcast happy hour, you missed a fun time with a great costume that I came up with. If you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you already saw it. So go to my IG if you want to see it, or if you would like to watch the most recent podcast happy hour or any of them, there is a playlist in the episode notes so you can catch up on all of them. The most recent one, we all dressed up. So if you want to see what we all wore, then you got to go to the playlist and check it out. Check out the others as well. Let's see other announcements. I have a spoken word night next Friday that I'm hosting in celebration of my 2-year. It's my podiversary. Yeah, podiversary. Do. Yes, so my 2-year podiversary is actually November 12th. So on November 12th, which is next Friday, I will be hosting a spoken word night. Writing is my first love. If you're new, I've performed spoken word night, periodically over the last, I would say since 2006 was the first time I actually officially performed a poem. So yeah, it's something that I enjoy doing, and I decided to add to the platform. Penrose and Lindsey. Lindsey's a really good friend of mine, so she's not a podcaster, but we did one, I think it was March or April, I don't remember, and it is something that we're going to do periodically as the spirit moves. As with all things, you're going to get an episode every week. You never know what you're going to get because it all depends on what I feel like talking about, what's going on in my life. Same with the special events. I don't really stick to a set schedule. Oh, also, podcast happy hour I am hosting this month. We don't have a date yet, so more to come on that. But yeah, I don't do things on a set schedule. I'm going to try to once a month go live. Can't promise that because I didn't stick to it before, but we'll see. For sure with podcast happy hour, that's every month, you know what I'm saying? But y'all gonna get an episode every week, you know what I'm saying? Right now you're getting bonus episodes with Chris and I doing the U recap. So y'all get content from me. You feel me? It's just the live shows. I gotta have something that I actually want to perform or put together, stuff like that. I'm not gonna go live just for the sake of going live and recording an episode. I don't want to do that. I want that to be like something special. I will always put the YouTube link in the episode notes for however long and mention it, and it'll stay on my YouTube page, but I don't even upload the audio for those anymore. I just want it to be something different. I'm gonna try to do better, but for sure y'all will get content every week. You know what I'm saying? It has been a great week. I'm in a great mood because on Monday I officially finished the business essentials workshop that I've kind of mentioned on here. I finally finished the facilitator's manual for it. So, man, like stuff like that. And even like when I wrote my standard operating procedure manual for my own company, if you're new, I run a consulting company. So that's what this stuff is related to. But it's like it takes so much, not out of me, but kind of. And then because I'm still having to keep up with everything else that I'm doing, which, gosh, when I wrote my standard operating procedure manual, I was still working my full-time job at that point. So it's like this extra project that takes, that's kind of how it's been. That's why I've been slower to launch things, because if I'm going to launch it, it's going to be right. I'm not going to launch it and then scramble to get stuff together, because I just feel like there's not time for that. So I've noticed that when I'm in that mode of like really working on a specific project to launch another service, I just get in this zone where nothing else matters until it's finished. And then once it's finished, it's like, yes. So I decided that the first workshop, which for now they're just going to be in person. So if you live in the Omaha, Nebraska area, it'll be a workshop that I will host here. There will be an introductory price of $30. So it's a 2.5 hour workshop where I am teaching basically the fundamentals to make sure that your business has a solid foundation. So teaching the 6 most common business structures, information about trademarking, financial literacy, professionalism and networking etiquette, marketing and branding fundamentals, and leveraging content. And it's just stuff that I use all of this stuff with my own company in different ways, but it's also stuff that I've learned in my profession in the social work field, has been predominantly focused on workforce development. And then the leveraging content, I've learned a lot, as a podcaster, but also content is something that I just didn't have the word for it. I didn't have a platform to display it for people outside of my Facebook friends, but it's kind of, I've done that to promote stuff like since I had a Facebook. So it's kind of like just all that I've learned over the years and just kind of putting it in 2.5 hour to allow for, questions and stuff workshop for those that want to start a business, but maybe don't know where to start or whatever. I'm teaching you the stuff that has been super helpful to me with my company. And then furthermore, if they're like, I'm the kind of person that you can give me information and then I'll kind of just run with it. And I don't need a lot of necessarily all, like even my business mentors, we don't meet every week or every month. We will meet to talk about specific things. And then I kind of do what I need to do in the meanwhile. But I know that there are people that really need that one-on-one coaching, need that accountability. So that will be a service. I'm working on launching that as the next service, is coaching. And so the first workshop will be in January. So more to come on that. I will start offering them virtually, but I want to start doing it just in person at first. So yeah, super excited about that, because that was something that, like I said, when I'm working towards like finishing a specific sector or section or phase is actually what I really call it, of my company to launch, that was actually going to be a phase that was going to be like down the line. So if you look at, I'm trying to think because I've updated my website. So on my business cards, I don't even have this workshop on there, because that was going to be something that I was going to do later. But a friend of mine works at a hair school and requested that I create a curriculum, basically what I created. But then I decided that if I'm going to do this, yes, I can partner with the school and I can potentially continuously go there and not have it be a one and done. That's what I'd prefer, so that they can be assured that all their students are getting consistent information. But then I thought, well, of course, there are other people that want to start a business or want to learn about trademarking. Even like all of this information is helpful, even if you have a brand that maybe you want to legitimize your brand and turn it into a company, you can do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, super excited about that. I haven't facilitated a workshop in a while, but it is something that has been a part of my career. So I'm not nervous about teaching in front of people or any of that because I've done all of that stuff. It's just kind of interesting because I've been in a virtual world for so long. So even the last year that I worked at my job, over a year, I was working from home. So it'd be interesting to like be in a workshop setting in front of people and all that. But I'm actually really excited. There's still some things that I want to get together between now and January. Then with the holidays, I just figured the beginning of the year is the better time to actually launch it. That also gives me a lot of time to promote it because I've noticed that when you promote things in advance, you have a better response, even if it's live shows. My first karaoke battle versus the second one, I didn't do a lot of promotion with the first one because, first of all, I was working a full time job at that time, didn't really have time. And also, I just wasn't on that mindset. I've gotten more into promoting since I've become a business owner because you kind of have to promote your services and all that stuff. So it's kind of thus helped with me as a content creator. Um, but I didn't really promote. And I mean, of course, I promoted, let me say this correctly. I promoted, but I didn't excuse me, a lot of content to promote. I just created a flyer and just kept whatever. Well, this time I was really like the videos that you saw, and shout out to Chris, Baylor, and Ivan because they really just kind of ran with the assignment that they were given. You know what I'm saying? They understood it, but I knew they would because that's why I specifically chose them. As with anything I do, no one has ever, no one that's been on my show, I should say it that way, or that's been a part of a live show ever asked about it. Nobody knew anything about it. It's always me reaching out to people like, hey, I want you to be a part of this. Are you down? And so I knew that they would bring what they brought. It was such a fun night. But what I've learned though is just the importance of good marketing and promoting in advance, even with content stuff. I haven't cared about it as much as the past, but when you grow in one area, everything else elevates. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a great mood because I feel a little bit less stressed now that that is out of the way. Also, Sheba, yes, if you see it, Miel Organic, shout out to them. I'm not paid to do this. I wish I was paid to do this, but I'm not. I have used different products of theirs, but I've been a natural for however long. I talked about that before. But I always have to relearn my hair at every length, and I always have to it's been a continuous journey, especially when I wear protective styles for a while. And then when I come back to it, and I decided that for this season, even if it's just until the summer or whatever, I'm just really gonna like relearn my hair and just kind of just wear my hair. Like I've always said, I never wore protective styles because I didn't have hair. No shame to anybody who doesn't, because like I said before, cut all my hair off at one point in time. But it's just, I didn't feel like dealing with it. Really, it's just I didn't have time because it's a lot of work. But now that I have more time okay, I don't have more time, but I can prioritize my time how I want. I've decided to make it a priority to just kind of really play with my hair, learn what is best for it, and kind of go. And so Miel Organics, I've used their products, but I found this new, like, I think it's called a twisting souffle. And it's like I've noticed that when I did my twist last night, and then my hair feels more moisturized. That's what I noticed off top because my hair be really struggling. Like I really have to find I'm really working to find the right products because like I said, for different things it's different. And then I don't even know. I don't remember what I used to use or it's just weird. But so I really have been like being intentional about learning whatever. And that plus the leave-in is what I did for this twist out. I noticed my hair, there's less shrinkage. So there's that. I noticed that my hair feels more moisturized. So there's that. It's shinier. So there's that. So I really like, though, that on their website, it really breaks down like what products are best for your hair for like high porosity. I hope I'm saying that word right, or low porosity, which I just kind of learned about what all of that is. You know what I mean? And so that has helped me to make sure that I'm using the right products for my hair because I'm like, this is the hair that grow out of my head. Yes, but it shouldn't be like just dryness just because I'm choosing to wear natural hair. You know what I'm saying? It's not that people have necessarily better grades of hair. Like I guess I'd be classified as 4C, which is like a super tight curl. So like if I stretch my hair out, it's past my shoulders, but it's such a tight curl that when it shrinks, you know what I'm saying? It's shorter. And it's fine though, because it's at the length that even with shrinkage, I'm cool with what's going on. I don't need to, man. I used to try to use gel to avoid shrinkage and all this stuff. It's just been super crazy. So super excited with what Sheba S Baby. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect you. Is giving me because new products and when they work well, it's pretty exciting. So let's see what else. Podcast shout out. I guess I should do that. So this week we have Chicklet with Karyn and Aubree. Shout out to them. I met them in a retweet group. Super supportive, super encouraging even. I really have enjoyed the retweet groups because if I have a question or sometimes we just laugh in there and talk about whatever, or they get the grind of being a content creator and trying to navigate life and just all these things. But their show is about two besties get lit and talk about books and movies they love and love to roast from growing up. So the link to their website will be in the episode notes. Definitely check them out. Like I said, super supportive. I have not listened to their show yet. Dude, I've been so just off track with my my podcast, like getting sick because them 2 weeks when I was sick, I'm not even about to lie. And well, y'all know I didn't listen to podcasts because you didn't see me tweet out any podcast rotations or tag you or none of that stuff. That threw me off. And I've just been busy, like moving around, having to go places busy. So that's kind of like, I don't know, I've just kind of been off with my podcast rotation. I still listen, but not as much. So I definitely haven't added any new ones necessarily. I think one person I added to the list of shows, and so I'll check him out, but I haven't really added any new ones because it's like I'm barely keeping up with the rotation that I have. But still going to do podcast shout outs on solo episodes. But let's circle back to something I said where I just said about it's been super supportive with the retweet groups that I've been in and just that community and them understanding whatever. And I don't always usually say who I had what conversation with, but I feel like this person won't care if I say that I talked to them. So earlier today, I had this really, really refreshing shout out to him because Baylor, that's what I'm talking about. He always uses that word, but I don't even know what made me hit him up. I hadn't talked to him in a while, so just kind of wanted to see how he was doing. And the conversation was so encouraging and just he said so many things that I needed to hear to help like shift my mind. And it's not like he was trying to. because he wasn't like trying to give advice, but he just has a lot of wisdom as a content creator, just whatever. And I was just kind of sharing with him some stuff. Like, he was able to say things, just him talking, and just kind of shift my perspective. I love that, where people naturally, not you're trying to convince me of anything, but you're just naturally sharing whatever wisdom you have, and I get revelations. And it was like such an encouraging conversation that I needed, but even as a business owner, because this journey is things are not happening when I want them to happen, like they happen, but then things also happen ahead of schedule. Like I said, with the business workshop, that was supposed to be like way down the line that I start facilitating workshops. And so it's been an interesting journey, but it was super encouraging. And then when we got off the phone, it just made me realize how important community is. And just like, I get so in the grind that I don't always make time to just call people. Like, it's rare that I just call people. Like, even he said he was shocked to see my name as the one calling him, because I'll text people for sure. That is always my go-to. But there's just something that is great and needed to actually have just like a conversation with someone, if it can't be face to face, just in general, than a phone call versus texting, because it's kind of like you never know what revelations you're going to get. Or sometimes it's good to just hear someone's voice, feel their energy through the phone or whatever. But it just made me realize that I have to really get better at like calling people, reaching out, checking on people. And yes, the grind is important because I'm trying to build my empire, is what I actually say. But if I don't pour into or cultivate or whatever the relationships of the people around me that either I feel like are important, or we just have really good rapport, because I haven't in person met any podcasters. So if we have really good rapport and, I'd say a friendship or whatever, I have to be intentional about cultivating them relationships. And if I'm honest, I can be very lazy with that. It's easier when, like, if we work together or we're working towards something or whatever. But what I've noticed is, like, I don't have any coworkers anymore because it's just me and my company. When I got sick, I stopped going to the office. Like, there's an office that I have, and there are like a bunch of therapists that rent offices in that office. And the person who owns the counseling agency or whatever it's called, she and I are really good friends. And so I will go there, and then of course we talk and all that stuff, because she would tend to be like one of the only people there. But I haven't even been doing that. It started when I got sick, and then I don't know, I felt really behind because I, for 2 weeks, did nothing at all but be in the bed wondering if life was about to end. You know what I mean? And so I've just really been reminded of the importance of community and the importance of quality time with people, like how good that is for my emotional and mental health or whatever. Because it's kind of like, if I'm just alone all the time in my head, and I'm not really alone, I don't live alone, but you know what I mean, just in the zone, just focused. Like, I've been trying to be more intentional of not eat at my desk. So when I eat my meals, eat at the kitchen table, like take breaks. I have to tell myself or force myself to eat, you know what I'm saying? Because otherwise I could go all day and then be starving. And so I've been having to like really be intentional about pausing, rest days even. Saturday is like my day where I don't do anything. Now, if I have a recording scheduled or something, that's different, because podcasting or even blogging is different to me than the stuff I do with my company, because it's like, for me, content creating is a therapeutic outlet, even if I'm on somebody else's show. And it's usually a good conversation, so that's different. but I've really had to be intentional about Saturday is my day where, unless I have a recording scheduled or a live show, I'm not touching my computer and I'm going to do other things. You know what I mean? I've had to be intentional, like I said, about sitting at the kitchen table or dining room table, whatever, same thing, to eat my meals and stop eating at my desk so that I can keep working. I've had to be more intentional about calling people, having conversations, seeing how people are doing, like not calling them with an agenda necessarily, although I don't usually call people. I guess as a content creator, you could say a lot of times I may hit people up to be on the show or whatever. So not hitting somebody up to be like, "Hey, do you want to be on the show?" Or because I can't think of what quote unquote agenda I will have with anybody else outside. But really just I've had to be more intentional about like slowing down, and it's okay to pause, and I feel like I'm an overall better person by doing that because I can come back to something, because basically the other 6 days a week, I'm doing something. You know what I mean? But that one day where I just disconnect and I don't, don't try to do anything and then come back to it, like I feel like my mind, my heart, my soul even feels refreshed and doesn't feel like as drained. And I feel like that's been an important thing that I've had to learn, because I'm not even as busy as I'll get once things pick up more. But I've been grateful though that things are slow, because it's given me time to really build up like the curriculum or like the administrative side of things, so that when I'm taking clients, like for the coaching services, because that hasn't launched yet, I have everything I need on my end to do what I need to do, and not, oh, I still got to figure this out. And so I've been kind of grateful for this, like, I'd say slower in the sense that I don't have a ton of clients season, because once we get there, especially once I start adding in, I'm debating on whether I'm probably going to do maybe monthly workshops, but I'm debating on whether I'm going to do it more than that. And then maybe I'll alternate in person and online, just so that if there's people that don't live here but really want this information, that, you can get it. I just wouldn't be able to connect you with any like tax people or any of that in your area once we get to that, because I'm not going to do the stuff for you. Like, I'm not registering people's businesses or doing any of that. I don't want that, but I can connect you with people who will do that. So that's my vision, is give people the information. Now, if somebody wants coaching as far as, and I talk about it in the workshop, but the things that I feel like I'm have expertise in that area, then yeah, we can have coaching services. But I'm not going to be like starting anyone's businesses for them. I'm not going to be filling out trademark paperwork for anybody, but I'm going to get you connected with people here in town that can. So I wouldn't be able to help with that side of things, but I still, there may be people that even in town don't want to come to a workshop with a few other people, because there's only going to be 10 max people that I would do at a time, for two reasons. One, because of the space, but two, I like smaller groups when I'm teaching. I feel like that gives more room and space for personalization of curriculum as people have questions. Sometimes when you have larger groups, people may not want to ask questions because there's so many people or whatever. So I feel like it allows for a more intimate setting, because I really prefer one-on-one teaching, coaching, whatever, but I will facilitate workshops as well. So yeah, I've appreciated this, like, the holidays are coming up. My youngest, her birthday was Halloween, so she's 18. So that's new, because we had a conversation. She had a curfew. Once she graduated high school, though, because she graduated October 1st, she got a lot more freedom because it's like, as long as you do, she had certain expectations she had to meet. As long as you meet these certain expectations, then it's kind of like you're free to do what you want to do, you know. Well, now that she's 18, last night she was like, okay, so now that I'm 18, and I love that she came to me like this. She was like, "What are the expectations as far as like me leaving or me spending the night?" Because before she wasn't allowed to spend the night during the week, even after she graduated, because I wanted to make sure she did the stuff she was supposed to do. One of which was look for a job, which she did get a job. She actually started yesterday, so she still had some kind of rules, but now I'm just like, just let me know when you're leaving, just so I know, and let me know if you're not coming back, which is the same rule that her sister had, just the rule of the house, just so I'm not up waiting for you to come back or thinking you were supposed to come back and you weren't, and I'm concerned. Like, if I know you're not supposed to, you know, you're spending the night at your friend's house, all right, cool. So it's a new new phase. I'm technically, but my kids are still like at home. I'm technically like at the empty nest stage, so it's been really weird, but I've actually, if I'm honest, as much as it's an adjustment, I kind of appreciate that I don't have to, that I can think about myself a lot more than I could before, because I mean, they're gone a lot. You know what I mean? And with all that we've gone through, especially since their dad passed away, I just feel so like freer, you know? Still a mom, still have responsibility, still whatever. So I'm not saying that, but it's just like, I don't know. It's a weird season because it's new, but I'm learning to appreciate it more and more because I can pour more into myself. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I have just been pouring out, pouring out, pouring out, pouring out, pouring out to everybody else, and not investing in myself as much as I needed to be. So I've really just, in my schedule, in my daily routine, have just really added some important things. So like the first thing I do, and I might have said this on here before, when I wake up in the morning, is I journal, because my mind is always going. Like, when I lay down to go to sleep at night, my mind is just going with things I want to add to the company, things I want to do, ways that I want to implement things, content I want to create. Like, my mind is just always going. And I gotta kind of start each day emptied of some of that, because I don't know, I can feel weighed down if my thoughts are too consuming. So I really, like, my phone is on quiet time, and on quiet time, not even my kids' notifications will come through, because I am no good to even them if I don't take care of me. So I don't have to feel guilty. But like, if, you know, there's emergency things in place that if someone was to call me twice, it'll come through. But like, yeah, I have really been trying to just navigate this new season. There's so many changes, and I'm not always someone who does well with change and transition, but I've actually really appreciated the season that I'm in, because I feel like I get to make more time for other things that are important to me that are outside of the grind. Like, I've been going to this Tuesday morning women's small group through my church. If you're new, faith, my relationship with God, all of that is super important to me. And so it's been really good to just go be with people who are believers like I am, and talk about, you know, what we read in the daily reading, but also just talk about life and what we're going through. They're all kind of in probably somewhere around my age. You know, it's hard to tell with these things sometimes, but, or have kids around my age, or maybe even older, so can encourage me where I'm at in parenthood or just in life. It's just, you know, so I've really appreciated that. Like I said, the importance of community. And I say it all the time. We weren't created to do life alone, because we weren't. But what I realize is I have to be a lot more intentional because especially now that I don't have coworkers even, like I have to be more intentional because it can't just be me and my kids, like not for real, for real. Like especially now, look, they be wanting to be with their friends and they could care less about me, not like for real, but you know what I mean. And so it's like gotta invest in community. I appreciate all the content creators that I've met on my journey that I have like built relationships where we talk outside of social media for some of them, or even just some of the people that we've had really good conversation on social media. Like I appreciate that because it's like that community, you all in the beginning stages when the people that I knew prior to podcasting weren't really paying attention to what I was doing, having the community of people that understood really is what kind of helped me to keep going in the beginning stages when I was still trying to figure stuff out and all that stuff. And that's why I was able to get to about to be 2 years. Like that's just crazy because like I've said many times on here, consistency was never a strength of mine. And consistency in podcasting has helped me realize I can be consistent. And even if it's like with my snatched 40s journey, you know, I had to pause when I was sick, had to pause. Now I can say why, because towards the end of like leaving my job, like once I knew I was leaving, it's man, the end of things is always hard for me. The beginning is easy. The end of things is always hard because it's like I'm ready. Once I knew I was leaving, I was ready to be gone. You know what I mean? But it's also important to me to end well because I feel like the way you end is the way you start the next place. I don't know if I heard that or where I got that from, but it's just something that stuck with me. And it's just always been a motto of mine that when I'm leaving somewhere, I'm going to leave well. I'm going to be faithful to the very end. And everywhere that I've worked can say that, I can say that confidently. And so it was hard though. It was hard. And then I just felt so tired, so tired. So then I was just like, well, I'll have more time to work out later. So I just kind of paused that. Eating, I always like I'm not saying I eat perfectly, but I'm at this place where I have to be mindful of what I eat because it makes me not feel good if I eat a bunch of trash. So it's kind of like eating hasn't as much been a struggle, but I definitely have enjoyed being back in the swing of working out because I just one obviously I'll get to my goal, but two, I just feel better. You know, it helps with endorphins, which is those feel good things in our brain, you know what I'm saying? So I have really because of podcasting though, that has helped me show that I can be consistent. And I feel like it's just in general set a solid foundation for my company because I remember when I started out, and sometimes you got to start somewhere and grow. Like I've really been reflecting on my YouTube journey, like from episode 7 forward is all on YouTube, but the beginning was not even video. It was just audio. Headliner dot app, I think, is the website. They will um transfer your audio to a YouTube video with some sort of graphic, and they did it for free. And so you could either do automated ones. I stopped doing that because it seemed like sometimes it wouldn't come out on time. I don't know what they were going through. So I would just, after a while, do it myself. But I look at that, then I look at when I first started uploading video to looking at like where we're at now. And I'm the background is it's funny, it's changing. So you guys will know when I move finally into my own place again. My background will be different if you watch on YouTube, but the background started off as Lord a blue and a green screen. So I bought a blue screen and a blue screen and a green screen, and I couldn't get the virtual background to be how I wanted it. And so I would just have the blue or green screen, because when I was in my room, the way I had my desk at first, now my room is always clean because I am just that type of person. Bed, like first thing I do when I wake up in the morning after I go pee and then come back to my room is make my bed every morning. And so my room was always presentable, but I didn't want strangers on the internet like seeing what my bedroom looks like, seeing pictures of my kids and family on the wall and stuff in my room. So it's kind of like I wanted that to, but then once I rearranged my room to where you couldn't see that side, then I didn't care. But just looking at the journey of my background changing, it's just kind of funny. But sometimes you just got to start and then go. And so what podcasting showed me, like with my company, ideally I wanted to launch every service at the same time, but no, because I still wouldn't have launched, you know what I mean? So I started with standard operating procedure writing services. And then now I've finished the curriculum for the workshop. Coaching might actually launch. I'm hoping that later this month, maybe even sooner, because there's not a ton that I have to do to get ready for that. But it's kind of like I'm also still getting stuff together for the business essentials workshop. But it's like, you know, you just got to start somewhere sometimes and then grow. And that's what podcasting showed me, and how you'll have a solid foundation to build on and add on and do whatever. And that's what you want in all things that you do. And I'm going to end on this, because if you don't have a solid foundation that you build whatever on, when hard times come, when life be lifing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even tell y'all everything on here that we go through or that we've gone through since I started this podcast. You know what I'm saying? I talk about certain things, but there has been a lot, and I've still been able to maintain and keep the main thing for me, because I built a solid foundation, and I've put things in place to make it less tedious, especially now that not only do I do 2 episodes right now every week and a blog, content is posted to my business pages every day. Now, I don't post it every day because I schedule things in advance, but stuff like that I don't know if I would have learned or known about. I mean, I eventually would have learned, I should say, but I wouldn't have known about the tools and the methods, that I use, had I not have already been using them as a content creator. So it's kind of like having a solid foundation in anything that you do, business, as a content creator, hell, relationships, having a solid foundation is super important. So that's my encouragement to y'all this week. Sometimes we want to rush and just hurry up and make something happen, but slower is sometimes better, because it continues to prepare you more and more. Like, I've grown a ton. I officially launched my company at the end of July. I've grown a ton since then. When I registered the business, I think it was the end of May, I've grown a ton since then. You know what I'm saying? So like, the journey continues to prepare you. So sometimes things don't happen in the timing that you want, but it always happens when it's supposed to. And if you follow me on social media, you see I've been talking about this stuff a lot, especially for my company page, because that's just kind of where I'm at, and it's so true. But it doesn't mean that you got to stop just because something happens, not when you want it to happen. It just means that it's not time yet, and keep doing everything within your power to make it happen. So with that, make sure you're also taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally to be healthy, whatever that looks like for you. It is super important for us to take care of our mental and emotional health. Make sure that you are doing what you need to do to be spiritually healthy. Regardless of your beliefs, we all have spirits, and they need to be healthy. Like, period. That's the heart behind when I say that every week. I do talk about my faith, my relationship with God, because this show is about my life, and that's a part of who I am. But at the end of the day, the heart behind me saying being spiritually healthy is just have a healthy spirit, because if you don't have a healthy spirit, it leaks into every area of your life. And then make sure that you're being healthy in your relationships, and make sure that people are interacting with you in a healthy way in your relationships. And if they're not, y'all need to have that conversation. And if people are not willing to do what they got to do, you might have to fall back. Doesn't mean you have to completely cut them off. You might just have to see how they move and readjust your expectations of them and move forward. Or you may have to cut them off. You never know. You know what I'm saying? It may be because the holidays are coming up, but I've been kind of reflecting on relationships that have ended that I didn't necessarily think they would, but it just is what it is sometimes. You know what I mean? So that's all I got for y'all this week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Ladies and gents, this concludes transmission. Tune in next time for a whole new edition. Another adventure and mission to share, be heard, and clarify the vision of this whole new world for